Disney Plus. We've had it for over a year now. And I think other than The Mandalorian, I've been kind of wondering, why am I subscribed to this? I haven't really watched many of the movies on there. I watched a couple of the other original shows. Not great. And so I've kind of been wondering, what are we getting out of this? We got the Mulan access. Still have to pay $30 for it. And
On there
finally,
for free now.
yeah, well, we do it for the pod, so take our money. But finally, this past weekend, Disney Plus dropped a whole bunch of news, and you kind of start to see what the Plus is all about, right?
One could say that. One could say that. And it's funny because despite a lack of consistent content, I think, to at least to adults, in terms of new content, it's been Mandalorian or bust through the first year for just about everyone I know. Like, yeah, there's that Jeff Goldblum show. I don't really know anyone who evangelizes for that. The Right Stuff show didn't get well reviewed. But they still told us that 86 million people are subscribed to Disney Plus worldwide. And it's like, wow, when you have a killer app like The Mandalorian, that's all it takes, I guess. Or if you have children, in which case this is the never-ending repository of uh, adolescent entertainment that parents have long wanted and needed to. They don't have to pay for rental prices and digital purchases anymore. So I guess that's all it was. But either way, you and I have a lot more to look forward to on Disney Plus. And it seems like Disney expects this feeling because they forecasted that by 2024, they expect to have 230 to 260 million subscribers, which is more than Netflix currently has right now, which is just a really outlandish, wild number to have them publicly project like that. But either way, Disney Plus is not slowing down.
Yeah, and I think given the news that they rolled out, there's reason to be excited. I mean, it seems like there's something out there for everybody, and they're really doubling down in, I'd say, three places, right? It's Star Wars, it's Marvel, and it's Pixar. And those seem to be the three main areas that they're trying to build out with TV shows and movies. I guess I wanted to ask you, what was the news that was most exciting to you that came out of this announcement?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of angles to it. There's a lot. I mean, you can look up. There's a wide range of news coming out. They said that they're going to be making 100 original titles, pieces of content a year, which is like a fifth of what Netflix does for context, but still a lot considering it's a lot more than what they've been doing. And there's like little tidbits of news, right? Like it seems like Hulu is going to become the Searchlight home of her content, so
Right.
we expect French Dispatch to eventually live there, whether it's debuted there or after a theater run, stuff like that comes out. Expanding FX on Hulu to 30 shows a year, that's awesome. Obviously, because we uh, associate FX with such a high quality, and there's some really notable new shows announced within that, like the previously known Shogun remake, but also, of course, Noah Hawley tackling Alien, which had been rumored but not officially announced. That's very exciting news. Um, and like Pixar, I think no, I think to me what Pixar was they announced two original movies in addition to a prequel or spin-off. In this case, a Toy Story prequel, Lightyear. I was like, okay, cool. They're still trying to thread that needle in terms of what makes their bread and a creative, you know, expression. That's nice because they made a lot of sequels in the last decade.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like it has to be the Star Wars news because the Star Wars news was less known. Like the Marvel news, we already knew about 8 MCU Disney Plus shows. We got
Mhm.
knowledge of a few more, right? The Sam Jackson, Ben Mendelsohn one, which we had a little inkling about. The Ironheart one. Uh, little tidbits like Tim Roth is going to come back for She-Hulk. Like, but we knew most of those MCU tidbits, right? And I guess John Watts is directing Fantastic Four, which I don't know about you, but that's kind of a underwhelming choice to me. He's
Yeah.
the
Well,
director of the Spider-Man movies, but either way, it's got to be the Star Wars news because a lot of that was unknown.
yeah. Although I do have to say, getting Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher and
What a
reading a
name!
little bit about that villain seems like that sets Thor: Love and Thunder up to be
Yeah.
quite the what was that, the fourth movie in that franchise. So
Yes.
I agree though. Star Wars seems to be there. Yeah, I'm most interested. Of course, we got the Ahsoka spinoff, which we kind of expected. Um, Obi-Wan Kenobi going to be filming in Boston, so maybe we'll see some more Bill Burr in
Boston,
that series.
England, that is.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's interesting because we're getting Hayden Christensen back uh, to be in some of those episodes.
Lot to
Interested to
chew
see.
on with that one, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to hear your opinion because I know that uh, he got blasted for his portrayal of Anakin, but I think you give him a little more credit than most people do, right?
I think most people, I mean, it was a wooden performance, but the script was also trash.
Hate
And
sand.
he was given a lot of shit. And I think a lot of people that like appreciate the prequels for what they are, or at least like the lore aspect of the prequels, kind of just wish it went better for Hayden Christensen because it kind of like tailed off his career. And he's a good actor. If you watch Shattered Glass, you would know that. Um, but yeah, I mean, just this thing, like just thinking about it, like canonically speaking, like um, they said it's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, so like about a little over halfway between New Hope and Revenge of the Sith. So Obi-Wan's older. Uh, Vader is well in his suit at this point, right? He's
Mhm.
fucked up. So like Hayden Christensen isn't just going to be like in the Vader suit, right? I have to imagine this is all in Obi-Wan's head or Vader's head as well. That way they actually can act without the stuff, without
Mhm.
like the age makeup and the armor and stuff. I have to imagine it's something like that because we know from New Hope that they don't actually meet between Revenge and New Hope, given the dialogue they have. So it's in the head, it's in the mind, it's dreams, visions, stuff like that. So like, in that sense, there's a lot of opportunity. So it's an interesting, but I'm just happy to see Hayden again because a lot of people, myself included, kind of hope we got like him as a Force Ghost in Rise of Skywalker or something. He did have his
Mhm.
vocal cameo, but um, it's interesting. It's tantalizing at least.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I imagine it's gonna be some flashback stuff, maybe some like Clone War
Sure.
flashback stuff. I wonder if then that means Natalie Portman is also brought on board. Seems like she might be in good standing again, potentially with the She-Hulk and um, or it's a Thor
Or
movie. Sorry,
yeah,
Thor
she's
movies.
confirmed to be in Thor 4.
So there's some potential for that, but we'll see. Out of the other movies, though, there was a lot of really exciting like shows or movies announced. Is there any that stood out to you in particular?
Well, it's kind of interesting as you think about it. Uh, there's a lot of Star Wars news, mainly shows. The future of Star Wars in the interim is largely on TV. And the best thing about Star Wars, really, since last year, has been on TV anyway, The Mandalorian. But if you look at those TV offerings, it's kind of a lot of things, right? You have Obi-Wan, you have a Lando event series, you have a Ahsoka limited series. Those are all known quantities to Lucasfilm, to the fans, right? They're all kind of like set in various eras. We got news that the Cash and Andor spin-off Andor from Rogue One spin-off specifically is 3 weeks into production, so that's exciting. But again, that's a kind of a known quantity, known time period. The Bad Batch, kind of like a continuation of the Clone Wars lore in a certain sense, known quantity. It's Acolyte that I'm excited about because that could be anything. That's the
Mhm.
Leslie. We knew Leslie Headland was associated with Star Wars as of a few months ago, but this is going to be set in the about to begin High Republic era of Star Wars content. That's a comics and not books time in Star Wars that's about to begin at the beginning of 2021. It's thousands of years in the past, and that new canon in the past, way in the past stuff is being reestablished at this point. So, Acolyte, that could be anything because it's not connected to anything we've seen before. And those
Yeah.
books and comics are going to get into that too. So it's exciting just to find. It's been a long time. We talk about and think about it way faster than this stuff progresses, right? Like
Mhm.
Star Wars existing outside of the now quite familiar stuff we know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the one with the most possibility, and you're kind of like, where's that going to go? But the one that got me going the most was Patty Jenkins directing Rogue Squadron, right? So
Sure.
if we're gonna get Top Gun, but just Star Wars, yeah, I'm all in. Sign me up for that, and especially bring the video game back. I mean, that N64 game is one of my all-time favorites.
You can get Star Wars Squadrons right now, man. That is as flight simmy as it gets. That game is fun and challenging. But yeah, I mean, the thing about the we knew Taika was doing one, and
Hmm.
we know Patty Jenkins. That's just two disparate Star Wars films, 2023, 2025. So like I said, it's TV in the short term. That's not a trilogy. Those are not connected. And from what we understand, Lucasfilm was taking pitches around town. What do you like about Star Wars? What interests you? What ideas do you have? And I think that's actually kind of cool if we're going to step back from the tradition of trilogies that we knew, because Star Wars is a sandbox. Star Wars has all this genre potential. Mandalorian is giving us a lot of that in the Western mold. Now we can get like you said, Top Gun. We get like some true action sensibilities. Right, there's so much still untapped potential in Star Wars, and I think those two movies could very well deliver on that when they're not beholden to you know certain legacy gatekeeping and stuff like that. So a lot of news, but that's definitely exciting. I feel like people just have a good feeling about Lucasfilm again. It's been a minute because it's been a very polarizing past few years. So I think generally speaking, everyone's pretty happy with everything that we've learned. That's nice.
I
Nice change of
completely,
pace.
yeah, I completely agree. And I think just in general, I'm excited about pretty much everything coming out here. I mean, we're already looking at Soul at the end of this month, coming out Christmas Day, which we'll be
Yeah.
reviewing. Getting a lot of buzz for top
Yes.
10 lists and potential Oscar ramifications, but um, there's just a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon, and it makes you really feel like Disney Plus is a must subscribe. So even though that number you mentioned is lofty, I think it's definitely attainable for them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because like not everything's exciting. You can tell there's some decisions that are really just like gotta turn out that content. You know how Netflix does it, right? They just make some stuff just to make some
Hmm.
stuff. They gotta fill it out. But like
Sure.
there's a prequel spin-off to Beauty and the Beast with Josh Gad, Luke Evans coming back. Like no one cares about that shit. Like no one's
Well, yeah,
excited
but
about that. That's like the equivalent of like the straight to DVD sequels that used to come out back in the day, for those animated films. But it's just content for
yeah,
them. But I
just
do think they announced enough like event content stuff. And again, if you like the more heady stuff, they're making more FX shows than before. So there's plenty here, I think.